Hello and welcome to our live webinar series, Moneyfy Mantra. Here, we talk to industry experts on important topics to empower our audience with practical knowledge on personal finance. Before we start, let me give some basic details of our application, our platform, Moneyfy by Tata Capital. This offers a complete suite of financial products 100% digitally. One can start their investing journey in mutual funds with SIP option, invest in small cases, open a retirement account with NPS, apply for all kinds of loans and insurance needs as well. If you find our sessions interesting, consider subscribing to the Tata Capital Facebook and YouTube channel to get the latest update on various financial offerings. I would request all our viewers to share their comments and questions in the chat window, and we would try to take up as many questions as we can at the end of the session. A secure, stress-free retirement is something that is on everybody's wish list, but rarely do people actively take any steps towards this goal. National Pension Scheme is a product which helps people do exactly this. In the year 2009, the Indian government released the National Pension Scheme for all of its citizens who are interested in retirement planning. Since then, NPS has evolved to become one of the most attractive and tax-efficient wealth creation products in the country. Today, NPS is arguably the best retirement savings product available in the market, with a lot of our country still unaware of its various benefits. To shed light on this very important topic, we have a very special guest, Mr. Saurabh Chaturvedi, Vice President of NPS Distribution and Strategy, HDFC Pension Management Company. He has 20 years of rich experience in this field and is considered a strong authority on this subject. He has extensive experience in setting up corporate and retail NPS business in various organizations. I'm delighted to host this very special episode of Moneyfy Mantra with our guest, Saurabh Chaturvedi. Over to you, Saurabh.
Thank you. Thanks a ton, Anthony, for this particular warm welcome. And I'm indeed delighted to be part of this session. And, it's definitely a kind of a joint session between Moneyfy, which is Tata Capital's venture, and HDFC Pension Management Company. So we'd love to take our discussion forward. Can we go ahead and start showing the slides?
Yes.
Right. So I would like to welcome all the audience who are part of this particular discussion. And I would be also interested in going ahead and replying to every answer which you will put it on the chat box. So my sincere request, as Anthony rightly talked about, that you all can post it across in your chat box. We will take those questions one by one. We'll try to make our presentation as short and crisp as possible, but definitely it should make sense. So we will try elaborating a little bit more. And I'm sure English would be a better language to run it past. Anthony?
Yeah, English and occasional Hindi won't matter.
Achha, occasional Hindi would also help, right? Okay, yeah. Right. So as Anthony rightly talked about, it's a next-gen product, which is National Pension Scheme. There are a lot of myths which are there in the marketplace today while people even hear about NPS. So I would like to bust some of those myths by virtue of going ahead and taking you through in this particular presentation. We'll first look at what are the different kind of myths in the marketplace today. Can we move forward?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a overall agenda, but we will first go ahead and show you something which is called why NPS. And the moment when you think about NPS, these are the different kind of thought, which, these are different thoughts which come in and start making you think, should I go ahead or should I not? Yeah. So some of those thought processes are, one is, people feel that it is, it is only meant for some of the retail investors, not for everyone. Some of the people, think about it, no, I don't want to lock my money for such a long duration. Yeah. And then there are certain people who say that, no, this has a very marginal amount of tax benefit. Some people feel that, oh my God, now if I think about NPS, there is nothing which I can get through. And, hence, some people also feel that, it has a very cumbersome process to open the account. And towards the end, last but not the least, people all feel, all the people, when they think about NPS, some of the people rather, they think through that, no, NPS, if I go ahead and invest, at the end of the journey of NPS, I get a very minuscule amount of, pension out of it. So should I really go ahead? Let me assure you, by virtue of conducting this particular presentation, we will break those myths or bust those myth balloons as such. Yeah. Let's take it forward and break each one of them one by one. So here is one product which tries covering those, different requirements of ours. So first requirement is, generally, whenever we think about any financial product, as far as India is concerned, we always feel that, does it provide me a tax benefit? So let me be very frank with you. The scheme, which is National Pension Scheme, it gives you tax benefit under EEE model. Let me quickly elaborate on that. This EEE module is nothing but when you go ahead and make an investment into NPS, you get a tax exemption. And there are various tax sections which will cover it in the subsequent slides. As your money gets invested and it grows, the entire growth gets also reinvested without any taxation. So that's the second E for you. And the third E is, when you retire or when you exit from this particular solution, whatever is the amount which is qualified to be withdrawn, we will look at the withdrawal options also. Whatever is the qualifying amount to be withdrawn, that entire amount is tax-free now. Yeah. So that's triple E for you under the tax structure. Of course, it has a very superior amount of risk management process, which is tightly defined, by the respective regulator. And we will get to see as to how tightly it is defined when we go into the investment options. As far as the fund management charges are concerned, and that's something which I would like to also throw more light on, that fund management charge is nothing but when your money gets invested and it grows, your overall fund value, which is available from there, the fund management charge is levied. Yeah. So larger the fund, the larger absolute value will go out. And only if the percentage is lower, it allows you to have a better return on investment and better growth of your fund. And let me be very frank with you, with various kind of asset classes, right from equity to government bonds to corporate bonds, in the entire world, there is no product which offers you this gamut of different asset classes with such a low fund management charge, which is as low as 0.03 to 0.09%. And that's the reason, my dear friends, this product is not India's, it is world's most cost-effective retirement product today. And that's the reason it says cheapest actively managed fund. Then we also talk about asset management. So asset allocation, which is nothing but, as you grow older, the financial planning first thumb rule says, younger you are, higher the equity exposure should be. As you grow older, the equity exposure can systematically go down. So here, there is a built-in option in this particular product which allows you to have an automatic asset allocation, which is a wonderful thing at no extra cost. Quarterly performance monitoring by the PFRDA. So the regulator is a very vibrant regulator, let me tell you very proudly. And we are audited regularly, which allows us to be on our toes as an active fund manager, right? And the last part is, as some of the myths which we saw in the previous slide, also that, the process is very cumbersome and things of that kind, which people think about it. Let me bust that, myth also, that this particular product can be bought fully on a digital platform. And we will talk about it at length as we move forward, right? So these are, the kind of, we can say in Hindi, gagar mein sagar bharne ki ka kaam hai ye. It's an ocean in a pitcher, and that is what is NPS all about. Let's proceed further and unfold some more and advantages, features, and benefits of it. Yep. So one of the, some of the key features of the product is, it is governed by Government of India. Or rather, pension scheme is, launched, as Anthony really rightly talked about it. It started way back in 2004, of course, but it started only for central government employees. Over a period of time, government realized the fact that, this can definitely provide a social security system to every citizen of India. And that's the reason in 2009, it was launched for all citizens, right? Regulated by PFRDA, which is nothing but Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. It comes under the purview of Finance Ministry. Anybody and everybody in terms of all citizens of India, NRIs and OCIs, all of them are covered in the scheme. This scheme covers people right from the age group of 18 to 70 years. Yeah. Earlier it was 60, then it became 65. Now it has become 70 years. Up to the age of 70, anybody and everybody can go ahead and start investing in NPS. Can we move forward, please? Now it talks about the journey of NPS. How does it start and how does it move forward? So when you look at accumulation, that is nothing but it's an accumulation phase wherein you are on a monthly basis making certain investments. It could be monthly, quarterly, yearly. We generally, as a kind of financial planner, I always suggest everyone to go ahead with a monthly scheme, which allows you to have your systematic investments, which will multiply and give you also the rupee cost averaging benefit. Right. So this is the accumulation phase wherein the money keeps on getting invested and keeps on growing, and subscriber starts investing directly or through the employer. Even there is an option wherein, if your employer has NPS in place, through that also you can go ahead and make investments. Yeah. The next point is towards the end, on the exit, whatever corpus you have built, you can have some amount of that also, which can be withdrawn. And in addition to that, in case if you want to, go ahead and make no withdrawals, that's also allowed. You can utilize the entire money to purchase a pension. How does that pension work? What are the options? We'll talk about it at length as we go forward. Yeah. So this is the withdrawal phase wherein, you start receiving your pension. Yeah. And click on the next, please. Yeah. So there are two things. Sorry, go back. Yeah. So in case of death, during the accumulation phase, if there is any eventuality which happens, the legal heir gets the entire lump sum amount, which whatever is accumulated. That means whatever you have contributed plus the growth of the amount. So total fund value is given back to the legal heir. And of course, during the course of annuity, if something happens to the annuitant, depending on the annuity option or the pension option, what pensioner has opted for, the pension goes either to the spouse or the lump sum is paid back to the spouse, subject to the option which is selected by the subscriber at the time of retirement. So this is your journey. Now, let me give you a quick background. And I think Anthony has also talked about it. I also gave certain pointers, but just to give you a background, in 2003 is where, government decided to go ahead and switch over from defined benefit-based pension scheme for its own employees to defined contribution-based scheme. And then 2009, government decided to extend the social security system, one of the best, pension system for the respective citizens of India. And 2011, government also decided to go ahead and launch something called corporate NPS model. So 2011 onwards, now the corporates can also opt in for NPS for all its employees, be it government corporate PSUs or the private corporates or even partnership firms or proprietorship firms. All of them are allowed to go ahead and take this solution for its own employees. As of now, I can very proudly say that there are about 14 million subscribers pan-India who are part of this wonderful retirement scheme. Yeah, can we move forward, please? This is a complete architecture of NPS, and I would like to spend little more time on it because this is something which will make you understand and realize the fact that how does this entire product work and who are the different stakeholders? How do I move forward if I need to have any kind of help or support, right? So you have, as I mentioned it before, the regulator, which comes under the Finance Ministry, PFRDA, Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. It's an autonomous body, comes under the Ministry of Finance. So the creator of the product called NPS is PFRDA. So we call it as regulator come creator of the product. So if you want to come back stating that, Saurabh, in this product, why don't you bring in 1, 2, 3, 4 more changes? I'll have to tell you, I'm sorry, I can't bring in any change in the product. However, I can take your feedback, put it up to the regulator. And let me tell you, the regulator is very, very vibrant. They brought in a lot of changes in the product. This product has evolved over a period of last, since 2013, I have been managing NPS and I've seen a lot of changes in the product. And majority of these changes are for the good of the respective subscribers, which you'll get to see also in the subsequent slides in terms of additional benefits. Then you have point of presence. Point of presence is basically the front end of the product. Yeah, right from the subscriber registration to servicing to fund kind of shifting to or rather any kind of other servicing requests which are there, all of them are taken care by the POP. Towards the end of the term also, when you need to select pension service provider, again, POP receives the request and then sends it across. So front end of the complete product is the POP and POP SE, which is POP sub-entity, right? And then you have pension fund manager, which manages the fund under the guidelines of PFRDA. So as of now, there are about 10 fund managers, there are a few fund managers who have joined just now. I mean, there have been about 7 fund managers. 3 more have joined the bandwagon in the recent past. With that, these fund managers manage the entire fund under the guidelines of PFRDA. What are those guidelines? We'll cover it in the subsequent slide as we move forward. NPS Trust is a governing body which is an extended hand of PFRDA, which supervises all the activities of fund managers. As I mentioned it before, it is very tightly managed fund. That means everything is supervised very closely, and that's reason for the supervision purpose we have NPS Trust. Then you have CRA, which is backend processing unit. So there are precisely 3 backend processing units: NSDL, KFintech, and CAMS. So these are basically the custodians of the entire data. They go ahead, and once you open your NPS account, you are allotted something called PRAN. It is basically in Hindi called Prana of the NPS. Yeah. So it is permanent retirement account number. Very simple to remember. You always know what is a full form of PAN, which is permanent account number. Between P and A, you need to insert one R, and that R stands for, very easy to remember, retirement. And that's how it becomes permanent retirement account number. It's a unique number which gets generated by CRA, and it gets allocated to you. Whenever you move, wherever you move, you can carry the same PRAN number and keep contributing to that to build your super corpus for your retirement. Custodian is somebody wherein the entire, all the investments which we make as a pension fund manager, it gets dematerialized through the custodian. And then we have annuity service provider, which is a pension service provider, comes towards the end of the journey of NPS. There are about 13 life insurance companies which offer annuities. And then you have trustee bank. Trustee bank is basically the bank which takes care of the flow of money. At present, if I were to tell you, the trustee bank is Axis Bank. And here what happens is when you go ahead and contribute money, it comes to the POP or POPSC. From there, it gets transferred to the trustee bank. And from there, it goes to the fund manager. Fund manager manages the money on behalf of the respective subscriber. And then towards the end of the term, the respective subscriber receives an intimation from the CRA stating that your fund is getting matured. Here is a list of annuity service providers. You may have to select one of them. You select that. You may also take an attempt to have withdrawals, and those withdrawal options, we'll talk about it in the subsequent slides. Once everything is decided, it gets saved, and on the due date, the fund gets transferred in terms of annuity. Whomever you have selected, that ASP, annuity service provider or pension service provider, receives the money, and then they get in touch with you to process your pension. Whatever amount you have decided to withdraw, that amount comes into your account. So that's how the complete stakeholders architecture is, and that's how the complete journey of NPS takes place, right? Can we move forward, please? I would urge you to keep making a note of it, and wherever you have doubts, please keep on posting your queries so that we can answer all of them, or rather try answering majority of them by the end of this session, right? Just a quick background of what's the overall industry size. So if you look at it, of course, as we mentioned, that 2004 onwards, the entire NPS started for central and state government, and that's the reason you can see the larger pie, close to about 22 lakhs, 22.83 lakhs of central government employees, and 55.76 lakhs of state government employees are covered in it. Corporate sector started little lately in 2011. 14 lakh employees are covered in that. Unorganized sector is nothing but all citizens of India, meaning other than the central government employees, state government employees, corporate sector, all other people who go ahead and join in, they are part of the unorganized sector. There is also something called NPS Swavlamban, which is nothing but it is designed and devised for the people who come under the below poverty line, who used to come, and thereafter now it is also extended for the larger set of people. So that's NPS Swavlamban, which is relatively different, right? Moving to the overall AUM, if you look at it, it is about 7,15,000 crores. That's a large AUM which is getting covered under this particular industry. and it is growing day by day. So just thought we'll just give you a quick glimpse of it. Can we move forward, please? These are different fund managers who are available, as as per the guidelines of PFRDA. Yeah, can we move forward? Yeah. Now this is a slide wherein I want to invest a little bit more time so that you understand what are these different kind of asset choices which are available or asset classes which are available. And I want to kind of simplify it for the benefit of everyone, the larger audience, set of audience. So basically, when you look at this solution, equity, corporate bonds, government securities, and alternative investment fund, these are 4 asset classes which are broadly defined by PFRDA for the fund managers to manage the funds. You as an investor into NPS, you take an active choice or auto choice depending on your risk appetite. You can decide as to you want to have a larger exposure towards equity. You have a benefit of exposing yourself towards equity up to the extent of 75%. Yeah. But beyond that, it is not allowed as per the product guideline. Now, let me quickly define what is this equity all about. So here, as per the PFRDA guideline, it is only top 200 equities across the Sensex is something which we are allowed as a fund managers to go ahead and make investments in. So that clearly means that not every and any kind of equity money can be invested in. And that is where I wanted to break the myth that some of us feel that no, there can be a huge amount of volatility. The governing part is not really very clear. So let me tell you, we are audited once in a quarter regularly, and every time we submit reports. And the guideline also says that top 200 equities, that clearly means that it is only on the basis of market capitalization, the market capitalization of equity class. It's a very, very large, companies wherein the money gets invested, right? So that's the reason the volatility in the equity class will also be very, very low. As a result, you'll have consistency in your returns. Of course, no, huge 30% and very huge minus 30% kind of a return. So that's equity for you. Corporate bonds, it is AA and above credit rated bonds are the bonds wherein money can be invested. And then you have government securities that they themselves are itself a guarantee. And then you have alternative investment choice wherein real estate bonds are the bonds wherein we go ahead and make investments in. And there the exposure is restricted to only 5%. However, corporate bonds and government bonds, you can go ahead and make investment up to 100%. So that's active choice for you. You have 2 investment strategies. One is active choice, wherein you can go ahead and make investments as per your risk appetite. And many of us feel that in the hectic time schedule, we do not have that kind of a patience to go ahead and switch over and do those kind of balancing and rebalancing. In such situations, you can go ahead and select something called auto choice. Now, auto choice, as the name says, the alternative name of this particular choice is also called life cycle fund. It follows the basic thumb rule of financial planning. Yeah. Younger you are, higher the equity exposure would be. Older you are, lesser the equity exposure would be. And within that auto choice also, you have 3 sub-cycles, which is life cycle 75, which is called LC 75. There you can have equity exposure up to 75%. LC 50 is moderate choice, wherein you can have equity exposure up to 50%. And then you have LC 25, wherein you have equity exposure up to 25%. Now, when you look at all these 3 choices, when we go to the next slide, we'll elaborate a little bit more on it. Yeah. So before that, one quick, piece of, pointer. Above the age of 50, if you are, extending, then at that juncture, your equity exposure, that 75% which is there, is also, it also has something called a bounding, and that's something which is covered in the next slide. It says that as you grow older from the 50th year onwards, your equity exposure, maximum exposure under active choice cannot be 75. It might come down, and that's the chart which is mentioned. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So 51, it would be 72.5, and it keeps on coming down till the age of 60. So that's how it goes. Now, moving to the asset class, the choices, the auto choices. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So this is what I was talking about it. Aggressive model, moderate model, and conservative model. As I mentioned it, aggressive choice allows you to have equity exposure up to 75% till the age of 35. So if you're 35 years old, your equity exposure under this choice, aggressive model, you can have up to 75% exposure. As you grow older, 4% gets reduced from equity, 1% gets reduced from corporate bond, and that keeps on getting kind of shifted into the government securities. So 4% from equity gets reduced, 1 gets added to corporate bond, and 3 gets added to government bonds. That's how aggressive model works. Under the moderate choice, it is 2% which gets reduced from equity, 1% which gets reduced from corporate bonds from the 36th year onwards of your age, and that 3% keeps on getting consolidated towards government bonds as you grow older. And then the third choice, which, as I mentioned, 25% is into equity, and then it is a reverse number. That means 1% gets reduced from equity, 2% from corporate bonds, and then that 3% gets contributed into government bonds. So these are 3 choices. You have liberty of switching over from aggressive to moderate, moderate to conservative, or from auto choice to active choice to auto choice twice in a financial year. Yeah, can we move forward? Now, the other feature of this particular product, and this is where I want to again break one more myth. Generally, people feel when they go ahead and invest in NPS, and especially the people who are under the individual NPS umbrella, they generally use this terminology that, no, I'm in tier 2 account. That's a wrong statement. Whenever, mind you, whenever you open your NPS account, the first principal pension account which gets opened is your tier 1 account. Yeah. So but sometimes people say that, I was under corporate NPS umbrella, now I have moved out, and that's the reason I've changed my tier 1 account to tier 2 account. That's a wrong statement again. When you move from corporate to individual, you are only changing your sector from corporate NPS sector to individual NPS sector. Your NPS account remains the same, which is tier 1 account, because that's your principal pension account. Now, let me elaborate a little bit more on what is tier 2 account. So government realized the fact that, or rather the regulator also realized the fact that overall investment which is coming in tier 1 account, there are a lot of people who are also planning in parallel with whatever investment they are doing it in NPS, in their principal pension account. They are also kind of keen in having some more SIPs towards something wherein they can withdraw money. So tier 1 account, as we discussed, it provides you a very well-disciplined investment for your pension, for your long-term risk, right? So that's the reason this tier 2 account was introduced, stating that this is an account wherein you can invest money anytime, withdraw money anytime. However, this does not give you tax benefit. It does not build corpus for your retirement. It is only a kind of investment tool. Whenever you want to invest, you can invest. Whenever you want to withdraw, you can withdraw, right? So that's a flexibility which is available. So just to give you a quick brief of this, it is also known as NPS pension account, mandatory to open, and withdrawals are restricted in tier 1. Tier 2, if you look at it, it is open. It is known as investment account. Subscriber can choose to open this account at a later point of time also. It is not that only when you are opening tier 1, you need to add tier 2. You can even add it later. But the advantage of tier 2 is you can make withdrawals whenever you want to. However, we still suggest that you should have a balance of both, not only stick to one and the other one takes a back seat, right? In terms of investments, to open the account, you can have an investment of even 500 in tier 1. Subsequent contribution could also be 500 rupees, but in a year, minimum contribution should be 1,000. Otherwise, your account becomes dormant. Yeah. In tier 2, to open the account, you need to pay 1,000 rupees. Of course, this is a contribution which is getting built for your corpus, and subsequent contributions could be to the size of 250. In a year, if you even don't pay anything, your account does not become frozen in tier 2. Right? There could be another question which I'm proactively answering. I mean, probably that might reduce my number of Q&A towards the end of the session. You might ask a question that, can I switch over from tier 1 to tier 2 account? Answer is no. The next question is, can I switch over my corpus of tier 2 account to tier 1? Answer is yes, you can. The reason is very simple. Tier 1 account gives you a tax benefit. So if I'm a smart guy, what I'll do is I'll go ahead, invest in tier 1 account, contribute till the year end, take the tax benefit, and switch over to tier 2 and withdraw it. So the government and the regulator is one step further smarter. It says, no, the switch over from tier 1 to tier 2 is not allowed, right? So that's how it works. We will take more questions around it as we move forward. Yeah. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So now we will quickly elaborate on different tax benefits which are there. So you have a partial withdrawal which is allowed in the scheme. Out of your total contribution, your individual contributions, what you're making, 25% of your individual contributions can be withdrawn at any given point in time after 3 years of inception, right? Mind you, it is your individual contribution amount, not the total amount. I'll explain that with a quick example. Suppose you are contributing 50,000 every year. In 5 years' time, you have contributed about 2.5 lakh. And this 2.5 lakhs has become, say, about 3 lakhs. Yeah. So when you come forward and say that, sorry, hey, Saurabh, I want to go ahead and make a withdrawal. What you'll have to do is that you'll have to give a request, and the maximum amount which is allowed to be withdrawn is 25% of 2.5 lakh. Mind you, not 3 lakhs. 3 lakh is your fund value. Whatever you have contributed, 25% of that. So 62,500 rupees in this example would be the amount which you can go ahead and make a withdrawal, right? Because 2.5 lakhs, 25% is 62,500, right? So that's a withdrawal which is allowed. And mind you, these withdrawals are allowed 3 times in the entire lifetime of this particular product, right? And in case if you come for the second withdrawal, then it is 25% of your total contribution minus previous withdrawal. It can't be again 25% of the total contribution. That if you go ahead and make that kind of withdrawals, then there is nothing which is left over for your pension as such. So that's the reason it is 3 times in a lifetime, and that to incremental contributions, 25% is what you can withdraw under the partial withdrawal benefit. And mind you, it is again completely tax-free. It can't be done for anything and everything. All of a sudden, one fine day, I get up and decide, oh my God, now today I have planned, I want to go to Goa. Let me go ahead and take a withdrawal. No, there are certain reasons for which only the withdrawals are allowed. And some of these reasons are house construction and renovation, child's education or marriage, higher education, child's higher education. And then in case of any kind of critical illness, now COVID is also covered in this. So that's how the partial withdrawals are allowed. Premature exit is nothing but after 5 years, if you want to make a kind of final call that no, I don't wish to continue anymore, let me close. You can close the account, and whatever is your fund value, 20% of that only is allowed to be withdrawn. Remaining 80% gives you disciplined pension thereafter for life, right? So your money does not go waste anywhere. You continue to get the pension. And that's the reason we generally suggest that you should not go ahead and take a premature exit for anything and everything. It's if in a very, very dire need of money, you should look at it. Otherwise, you should keep continuing your corpus, because this is something which will take care of your golden years. Exit on maturity, which is nothing but after the age of 60, you can take exit anytime. And that's something wherein you can have withdrawal up to the extent of 60%. And that withdrawal is allowed up to 60% is something which is again tax-free. Mind you, again, in a premature exit, it is only 20%. In the normal exit, it is 60% of the corpus which can be withdrawn. But I always suggest that when you build your corpus, there is a purpose behind it. And that purpose is to get you golden eggs all the time when you retire, rather than cutting the hen. And that's the reason my suggestion is always that you should not look at withdrawal out of your maturity. You should look at how much of additional funding I can do it to this so that I get a better pension for myself. And in case of death, the nominee gets entire amount, or rather the legal heir gets the entire amount tax-free, right? Can we move forward, please? Yeah. I will just quickly go into this particular slide, which talks about the tax benefit. And then we also have another slide which elaborates furthermore. So this I'll quickly cover. So if somebody's basic salary is say about 20 lakhs, and the bifurcation of the rest of the allowances and everything as mentioned here, which adds up to about 50 lakhs. Under section 80C, you get 1.5 lakh rupees additional benefit. Then you have your employee provident fund, gratuity, and all of it. In addition to this, if your corporate has an NPS in place, you get an exclusive tax benefit under section 80CC D2 up to the extent of 10% of your basic. So in this example, it works out to be about 2 lakhs. So that's an exclusive benefit, mind you, only if your employer has NPS in place. And this is in addition to all the other retirement solutions and everything, should not cross, as per the new regime of tax, should not cross 7.5 lakhs. So that's the upper limit. Earlier, there was no limit only. Now there is an upper limit of 7.5 lakh, right? And on the other side, on the individual capacity, if you go ahead and contribute furthermore, you get another exclusive benefit, which is, mind you, only available for this particular solution called NPS. up to the extent of 50,000 under the Income Tax Act Section 80cc D1B. This is another exclusive tax benefit. And mind you, 80cc D2 and D1B both are mutually exclusive tax benefits. They are not replacing each other. They are mutually exclusive and both are unique benefits in addition to 80C, right? So by virtue of having these two additional investments, you'll end up having additional tax saving for yourself, which is nothing but about 2.5 lakh, and 75,000 rupees is a tax benefit. Your taxable salary gets knocked off by 2.5 lakh in this example. Can we move forward? Yeah. So these are different kind of fund managers and their respective fund performances in the last few years' time. So if you look at it, what we have done is we have kind of bifurcated aggressive, moderate, and conservative, because in the current scheme of things, if you look at it, auto choice is something which is the most sought after investment tool, which generally people go ahead, or retirement solution, which people go ahead and opt in for. So here, if you look at it, 3 years returns, 5 years, 7 years, and 9 years returns, these are the kind of returns which you can see it of different fund managers who have been managing the fund for last about 7 to 9 years. So there are different fund managers and their respective investment returns. You can see it yourself, majority of these places, the returns are in double digit if you look at 7 years or 9 years term. That clearly defines the fact that, definitely, this particular class of investment gives you a substantial amount of return. And I can very proudly say the company which I work with is HDFC Pension. We rank #1 across all the categories of investment choices which are available. Yeah. Can we move forward? Yeah. So here is a quick 10 minutes, pointer, which we were thinking about. The process is cumbersome and things of that kind. This is the scheme wherein you can go ahead online and open your account. And Moneyfy has a very nice platform wherein that's what we were talking about. Visit the POP site. So you can even log on to Moneyfy site and quickly click on buy NPS and buy Aadhaar, details of yours, complete OTP based KYC verification, fill up online form, which is a very simple form. You might be in a position to fill it up in a Ziffy because of the fact that some of your Aadhaar based details are already pre-populated in it. Complete the e-sign and just go ahead and make contribution and open your account. It does not even take more than 10 minutes time. Yeah. So that's a quick update on this particular scheme. It's highly digital. You need not to struggle yourself by virtue of filling up some forms and submitting it elsewhere, putting a check and things of that kind. It's all digital, right? So in the digital era, this is definitely something which definitely adds again cherry to the cake. Yeah. Can we move forward? Yeah. So these are different set of solutions, and I'm sure many of you must be having in your mind, back of your mind, that how good the product is, how comparative the product is, how competitive the product is, or the solution is. I call it a solution because it's a retirement solution for ourselves. We have just taken one ballpark number for somebody who's about 35 years old, continues to invest for next 26 years. There are different kind of investment vehicles which are available. And what we are looking at it is that, if you look at RD or, sometimes even MF, other than, of course, ELSS, you do it post-tax, which clearly means that if your total annual investment you want to do is 1,20,000, post-tax is only 80,400. And in case if it is a EPF or NPS, there in both the cases, since you have a tax benefit, it becomes 1,20,000. Net, it is 1,20,000 only. And as a result, your overall investment goes up. However, when you look at the annual return on investment, and this is, mind you, we have taken the data. It is not that, this data is something which is manufactured. We have captured it from the, mutual fund sites and different other sites of the products which are available on this. And on that basis, if you look at the return on investment, these are actual returns: 5.5, 8.1, 10.79, and 11.11%. Look at the actual corpus which you build by virtue of investing the same kind of numbers, which is 1,20,000 a year. RD gives you about 69 lakhs, EPFO gives you about 1.05, MF is about 1.10, and 1.73 by NPS. The biggest advantage of this particular solution is look at the expense ratio. RD and EPF, you do not get to see the expense ratio, but still the returns are relatively lesser, and hence you see that return. Overall, return, the expense ratio, we have, though we did the internal calculation and realized the fact that the overall expense ratio is as low as 0.15, but we have still kept it as 0.25, and still the returns are 1.73 crores. And that's the advantage which you have, and then there are different tax, which you land up paying in some of the solutions. And here in this particular solution, because there is no, taxability on it, the entire tax, 60% which you withdraw is completely tax-free. So that's something is right in front of you. So it has the lowest fee, has a higher tax exemption, gives you a tax advantage while you go ahead and make withdrawals. And that's the reason it is a net win-win situation for you. However, I still keep suggesting that you should not park all the eggs in one basket. As a financial planner, I always suggest that you should diversify your investment and make investments in everything, right? With that note, can we move forward, please? Yeah. So that's about it. I'm sorry, I've taken little more than the defined time, Anthony.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, it was totally worth it, I would say.
Thank you.
Yeah, so in the interest of time, I think we'll quickly go through some of the questions we have received. Okay, so I'll read them out to you so that you can quickly tackle them. Okay, so the first one, I don't know if you can give an unbiased answer to this, but which is the best fund manager you can think of will perform better in the next 30 years according to you?
Very good answer. A very good question. The answer is something which you need to decide when I give you the answer. So basically, when you look at this particular fund manager, you need to go ahead and evaluate fund managers on the basis of three broad parameters. Yeah. The first parameter should be all the fund managers who are there in the list, how many have been consistently giving you returns and how many have been managing the retirement funds for a long period of time. Yeah, that's one particular parameter on which you need to judge the fund managers. The second parameter is something which is also very, very important, that you need to look at the parentage. Yeah, so parentage of different companies are different. You need to evaluate as to which company has a larger amount of parentage and how long it has been kind of serving that kind of fraternity of different retirees or different set of financial products. The third point, which is very, very important point, which you need to, while evaluating, look at it, is that who has been kind of having a balanced approach in managing the returns. There could be places wherein you'll get a very high return and then again volatility in the return. But if there is a fund manager who has been giving you an average return and is there in the top quartile for the last many years, that's the fund manager which you should bank upon. If it is there in top 1, 2, 3, I mean, you should not be thinking that only top one I should go ahead and opt in for. You should also look at the consistency of the performance. So these are three parameters on the basis of which you should judge and get invested for next 30 years.
Okay, so moving on to the next one. Can we change our allocation at any time after registering for NPS? For example, current month, there is an allocation of 75% in equity. The next month, the user wants to reduce it to 50%. That is the second question.
Okay, so first question is, can I go ahead and switch over from one choice to another? Which
Yeah, no, it's talking about the asset allocation.
Asset allocation, can I change in a year? So that asset allocation options can be changed 2 times in a financial year, which is now becoming 4 times in the going forward thing. So when that becomes, it becomes all the more easier for you to switch over. But my suggestion is that since it's a long-term solution, you should not be churning funds or switching over very often, because it's a long-term solution. And the other point which you asked, the second part of the question, is that can I also reduce or increase my contribution? Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's something which is allowed at any given point in time. In a year, you can go ahead and make a contribution of 1,000 rupees. And next year you can make a 1 crore rupee investment also. Unlike the some of the policies which are there wherein the premium is predefined and it continues for the entire duration, it is nothing of that kind.
So this is a common query that we get. I mean, people are concerned that they'll be locked into paying a particular amount of money every year. But sure, NPS gives users that flexibility, as you said.
Certainly. Flexibility along with the very disciplined investment too.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the advantage. Yeah.
So we have received a few more questions also from other sources. So I'll quickly go through them. Okay.
Yep.
Why should someone consider investing in NPS if they already have a PPF investment or an EPF investment?
Right. So that's a very nice question. In fact, we covered some part of it in our previous slides. So when you look at PPF and EPF, definitely both of them are very nice set of solutions, and you have been getting consistent amount of return. But my quick question to all the investors is that, are we getting an assured return for the next 10, 20, 30 years? The answer is no. You have a decline trend in the past. It can be again declining further. And mind you, it is all in the single digit. On the other side, when you look at NPS as a solution, definitely it has been giving you double-digit returns. Over a period of time, there is a consistency in the return. That is one part, but the other part is you can also see and switch over if you want to make your returns more conservative or you want to make it more aggressive. And that choice and flexibility of getting better returns by virtue of switching over is something which is not available in the other solution. At the same time, since that money is easily accessible, I mean, of course, some part of it can be accessed, and I'm sure many of you might have switched over from one job to another. Whenever you have switched over, when you go ahead and switch over, the first thing what we generally do, including myself, I have also done it. Of course, I've been associated with the same company for the last 20 years. But earlier, whenever I switched over, I withdrew my EPF. The very purpose of EPF is to give you retiral benefit, but it defeats because it is easily accessible. I access it. However, NPS does not allow you to do that. As a result, you have a disciplined investment, which definitely allows you to build an asset class which will give you a fixed pension thereafter. Right? So that's the basic difference. Of course, you can definitely park some amount of your money with PPF, some with EPF, but for sure, you should look at you grow older, parking something which can give you flexibility yet higher amount of returns.
Okay, so moving on to the next one. So why do you think NPS is considered to be a hybrid product? How does it compare with the new age investing avenues like crypto or P2P lending, etc.?
Excellent.
Where does it stand?
Excellent. I'm sure this might be posted by some of our youngsters who have joined the call, right? Because cryptocurrency is the talk of the town now, and B2B lending is another talk of the town, which people generally believe in. And I'm sure, many of us keep listening about it and keep looking at it. But to be frank with you, cryptocurrency definitely is becoming now legalized also, and there are tax liabilities also which are predefined in this current tax budget, which the current budget which came in, there is a taxability which is predefined. However, the clarity is not much. It has a little bit of a gray area, and that's something wherein you can certainly take a risk, but it is a little bit of, I can call it as a blind risk which you're taking it in the cryptocurrency, with all due respect. But definitely, if you want to take that blind risk, you can always. On the other side, B2B lending, of course, you can do it, but is it possible to go ahead and do kind of invest into B2B lending or cryptocurrency for our retirement? I would suggest not really. For your other aspirations of life, like traveling around the world or something of that kind, if you want to do it, definitely that is something which can be managed with these asset classes. But as far as retirement is concerned, it's something which definitely builds up kind of asset for you when you are actually retiring. And at that juncture, if you realize that something has happened with the currency, cryptocurrency or something of that kind, with all due respect, you will not have time to go back in the history and change the past and then come back again to the present to see a better returns. That's the reason my suggestion is that when you compare NPS with these two kind of asset classes, definitely these two asset classes have volatility, at the same time, little bit of a gray area to be looked at. And along with the higher tax, here it is tax-free completely. It is triple E regime, yet very, very cost-effective solution, right? So okay, that's the comparison.
Thanks for that answer. So there is one more question. I think this is a collection of a few comments that we got in other meeting.
Okay.
So is there any point to someone over 50 years old or 55 years old who does not have an NPS account as of right now to start investing in NPS right now?
Okay. This is indeed an excellent question. And as you rightly said, I have been, conducting sessions across. I might have conducted about 3,000 odd sessions across corporates. And especially these questions I get it, from the senior management in the corporate, and also in the all citizen model. When I conduct sessions there, also the senior people, they come back and ask, Saurabh, I'm just 50 years old now. I have only 10 years to go, and how would this help? So very good question, but I want to, divide this particular question's answer into two broad pieces. The first piece is that this is a solution which gives you an exclusive tax benefit under Section 80cc D1B, which is 50,000 as an individual. If under corporate umbrella, then it is another 10% of your basic. So that's the larger piece of tax which you are getting it exclusively in addition to your all other tax benefits. So by the time you become 50, your all other tax pieces must have been already exhausted. Your ATC must have been exhausted. Your ATCs, your other set of home loan things and all that must have been exhausted. So there is nothing which is available. So this gives you an excellent exclusive tax benefit, which is one part. But second part, which is also all the more important, that by the time you decide to go ahead and invest and you only have about 10-year time, there can also be a possibility that beyond the age of 60, while you start receiving pension out of your other set of solutions, which you have your gratuity, your full and final settlement, and if you have other things from there or superannuation, if you have started receiving some pension, you will also get into the tax regime. Yeah. In order to save the tax, this product allows you to stay put till the age of 70. So it's not necessary that from 50, if you have started at sharp 60, you need to stop. If you feel that, no, I want to still continue and build my super corpus by the time I become 65 or 70, you have all the liberty to continue till the age of 70. And with the current regime of things, with the life advancement, I am very sure that by the time you build your corpus from 50 to 70, whatever pension you are getting in, this additional corpus will give another influx of larger pension for you, which will be required because of the inflation. Yeah, inflation will start eating your fixed pension by the time you turn from 60 to 70. And this bulk infusion which comes in, which you will build it up from 50 years to the 70 years, will again increase your pension, which is nothing but increment in your pension. Yet you might have saved a good amount of tax also in the next 20 years from the age of 50 to 70. I hope I have answered the question of the.
Yes, absolutely, sir. Okay. So I think it's about time. So with this, we have come to the end of our session today. Saurabh, it was an extremely insightful session for our viewers. Thank you and HDFC Pension Management for making this exciting session possible.
Pleasure is ours.
Yeah. I hope this session has helped a lot of people in understanding the incredible benefits of NPS. Right. So if anybody wants to invest in NPS, please log into Tata Capital Moneyfy, and you can do that. A direct link to invest in NPS has been given in the description to this video. You can obviously download the Moneyfy app also. The link has been given in the description. Right. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks a ton to Moneyfy and also all the viewers who are viewing this particular session. Looking forward to evangelize this particular product or solution to all the citizens of India. And I'm really passionate about this product. So whenever somebody comes in and asks about this product, I come forward happily to give them all the inputs around this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I remember in the first interaction how much you evangelized this product and how confident you were in defending this product in front of anybody. So I can see that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.